I felt it in my body before my mind could process it. That sudden hollowness when something fundamental is missing. The retreat had reset my nervous system over the past week, but in that moment, standing in my own garage, every muscle tensed back into familiar knots. My car wasn't there, not just any car, my father's 1967 Mustang. The one thing he left me that mattered. The space where it should have been gaped like a missing tooth. "Danielle," I called out, my voice bouncing off concrete walls. The house key felt cold between my fingers as reality slowly crystallized around me. I'd given Danielle my spare key to water my plants while I was gone. We'd been best friends for 8 years, the kind who finished each other's sentences and held each other's hair after too many tequila shots, the kind I trusted with everything. My suitcase wheels clacked against the concrete as I dragged it inside, the sound unnaturally loud in the stillness of my house. Something was wrong. Not just the missing car, the energy was off. The air felt different. "Danny." My voice sounded smaller now. No answer, just the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the grandfather clock my mother had insisted I take when she downsized. I moved through the living room, noticing empty spaces on shelves where photos had been. My breath quickened as I headed for my bedroom, where the real shock waited. My closet door hung open, revealing bare hangers where my designer pieces had been. The jewelry box on my dresser lay open and empty. The diamond earrings from my first bonus, the vintage Cartier watch I'd splurged on after my promotion, all gone. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text. "Sorry, Raquel, I needed a fresh start. You've always had everything so easy. Think of it as balancing the scales. Don't try to find me." My knees gave out, and I sank onto the edge of the bed. The mattress felt too soft, like I might fall through it into some endless void. My mind raced to process what was happening. Danielle had stolen from me, not just things, though the car alone was worth more than money could replace, but 8 years of friendship, of trust. "No," I whispered, standing up and pacing. "No, no, no." I called her immediately, straight to voicemail. "Danielle, what the fuck? Call me back right now." My voice cracked as anger battled with disbelief. I tried again and again. Nothing. I scrolled through our text history, looking for clues I might have missed. Our last exchange was about my trip, her wishing me a relaxing time, me thanking her for watching the house. Normal, mundane, a lie. The bathroom door was ajar, and I pushed it open to splash cold water on my face. My reflection looked wrong somehow. Same dark eyes, same wavy hair falling past my shoulders. But something had changed. The woman staring back at me looked haunted. I gripped the edge of the sink. "Think, Raquel, think. Cameron." I needed to call Cameron. He was friends with both of us, had introduced us at a housewarming party years ago. Surely he'd know something. He answered on the third ring. "Hey, you're back. How was the—" "Danielle took my car," I cut in. "And my jewelry, and half my closet. Tell me you know where she is." The silence stretched for 3 beats too long. "Cameron." "Jesus, Raquel, are you serious? Would I joke about this? My father's car." "Cameron, she took my father's car." Another pause. "I haven't talked to her in a couple days, but—" He hesitated. "She mentioned something about moving, with some new guy. Freddie, I think." I assumed you knew. My free hand curled into a fist. "New guy. She's been single for months." "Not anymore." They seemed pretty serious when I ran into them last week. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. "And you didn't think to mention this?" "I thought you knew. You two tell each other everything." I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that surprised even me. "Apparently not." After hanging up, I sank to the bathroom floor, my back against the cool tile wall. The betrayal felt physical, like someone had reached inside my chest and squeezed. Dad's car, the only piece of him I had left. I closed my eyes and saw him teaching me to drive it when I was 16, his patient smile as I ground the gears. "Easy does it, Rack," he'd said. "Respect the machine, and it'll respect you back." My eyes snapped open. I pulled myself up and walked with purpose to my home office. The computer hummed to life, and I logged into my bank account. The balance was wrong. Way wrong. I scrolled through recent transactions, my stomach dropping with each swipe. Multiple transfers to an account I didn't recognize over the past week. Small enough to not trigger fraud alerts. Large enough to drain nearly $30,000. While I'd been meditating and journaling at a lakeside retreat, Danielle had been systematically dismantling my life. I grabbed my phone and took a picture of the transaction history, then opened my contacts. I scrolled past Danielle's name, my thumb hovering for a moment before continuing, and tapped on Eloise, my colleague, and the only person I trusted right now. "I need your help," I texted, "and possibly a lawyer." Then I looked back at my reflection, something hardening behind my eyes. "I'm coming for you, Danielle," I whispered, "and I'm taking back everything you stole." Eloise arrived within 30 minutes, still wearing her work clothes, crisp black pants, and a silk blouse that somehow hadn't wrinkled, despite the 12-hour day I knew she'd put in. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. "I brought wine," she said, holding up a bottle of Cabernet, "and pizza's on the way." I led her to the kitchen, grateful for her practical approach to crisis. While I grabbed glasses, she surveyed the empty spaces where things used to be. "How much did she take?" Eloise asked, her voice carefully neutral. "30,000 from my accounts. The car, jewelry, clothes." I poured the wine with shaking hands. 8 years of friendship. Eloise took a long sip. "Have you called the police?" "Not yet." I stopped, realizing how stupid it sounded. Part of me keeps thinking there's an explanation, that she'll call and say it was all a misunderstanding. "Raquel." Eloise set her glass down. "This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was calculated." I knew she was right. The Danielle I thought I knew. The one who held my hand at Dad's funeral, who brought soup when I had the flu, wouldn't do this. But maybe that Danielle never existed. "We shared everything," I said quietly. I gave her the spare key to my house, access to my Netflix, my Hulu. She knew where I kept my passport, for Christ's sake. I looked up suddenly. My passport. I rushed to the drawer where I kept important documents. Empty. My passport, birth certificate, social security card, all gone. "Fuck," I whispered, slamming the drawer shut. "She's going to steal my identity too." Eloise was already on her phone. "I'm texting you my lawyer's number. Call her tonight. And we're freezing your credit right now." For the next hour we worked methodically, placing fraud alerts, changing passwords, making lists of everything missing. The pizza arrived, but I could barely eat. Each new discovery felt like another betrayal. "I should have seen this coming," I said, staring at my laptop screen. "There were signs." "Like what?" Eloise asked. I thought back to small moments that had nagged at me, but that I'd dismissed. She started asking weird questions about my finances a few months ago. How much I had in savings, whether I kept cash at home. "What did you tell her?" "Everything." I laughed bitterly. I even showed her my investment portfolio when she said she wanted to start investing herself. "And did she?" I frowned. "No, she always had an excuse. A bill came up, her hours got cut at work." Another memory surfaced. She borrowed $3,000 from me in April. Said she needed it for a deposit on a new apartment. "Did she pay you back?" "She said she would in installments, but..." I trailed off, the truth dawning on me. "She never paid a cent." Eloise's expression softened. "Raquel, this isn't your fault." "I know, but..." My phone buzzed with a text. "Cameron. Just talked to Freddie. He says Danielle's with him, but won't say where. Seemed nervous when I mentioned you were looking for her." I showed Eloise the message. "Who's Freddie?" she asked. "Apparently, Danielle's new boyfriend. Someone she never bothered to mention to me." I texted Cameron back. "Get his number." "You know what's weird?" I said, setting my phone down. 2 weeks ago, Danielle insisted I book that retreat. Said I looked stressed, that I needed to disconnect completely. Eloise's eyes narrowed. "So you'd be unreachable while she cleaned you out." My phone buzzed again. Cameron had sent Freddie's number. I saved it, then opened Instagram. Danielle's profile was gone. Facebook, too. It was like she'd erased herself from the internet. She's been planning this for months, I realized, maybe longer. I scrolled through my photos, finding one from last Christmas. Danielle and me in matching pajamas, mugs of spiked hot chocolate in hand, laughing at some forgotten joke. Her smile looked so genuine. Had she been plotting even then? I trusted her with everything, I whispered. I told her things I've never told anyone. Eloise squeezed my hand. What are you going to do? I stared at the photo a moment longer, then deleted it. First, I'm calling the police, then your lawyer, and then… I took a deep breath. I'm going to find her. And then what? The question hung in the air. What would I do when I found Danielle? The hurt was curdling into something darker, something that scared me a little. I don't know yet, I admitted. After Eloise left, I sat alone in my half-empty house, scrolling through my phone. I found myself looking at photos of my dad's Mustang, the rich cherry red paint he'd lovingly maintained, the cream leather seats we'd reupholstered together the summer before he got sick. I'll get it back, Dad, I promised the empty room. My laptop pinged with an email notification. The subject line made my heart skip. Your recent purchase. It was a receipt from a high-end furniture store in Phoenix. $12,000 charge to my credit card that I thought I'd already frozen. The shipping address was unfamiliar. I grabbed my phone and dialed Freddie's number. It rang 4 times before a man answered. Hello. His voice was wary. Is Danielle there? I asked, keeping my voice steady. A pause. Who's asking? Tell her Raquel says enjoy the new furniture. I hung up before he could respond. I had an address now, and with it, the first real thread to pull. I couldn't sleep. The furniture receipt from Phoenix kept pulling me back to my laptop, where I'd spent hours researching the address. It was a luxury apartment complex, the kind with a rooftop pool and concierge service, the kind that required excellent credit and a substantial income, neither of which Danielle had. By 5 a.m., I'd made my decision. I showered, packed a small overnight bag, and booked a flight to Phoenix for that afternoon. The police had taken my report, but made it clear that disputes between friends weren't high priority. Eloise's lawyer had been more helpful, already filing paperwork to freeze my accounts and flag my stolen documents. But I needed to see Danielle's face when I confronted her. I was pouring coffee when my phone rang. Cameron. Hey, I answered, trying to sound casual. Any news? I talked to Freddie again, he said, his voice tight. He says Danielle's freaking out about your call. They know you have their address. My hand tightened around the mug. Good. Raquel. Cameron hesitated. I don't think you should go there. I set the coffee down. How did you know I was planning to go? Because I know you. His voice softened. Look, there's something I need to tell you. About Danielle. What? Another pause. Can we meet for breakfast? I don't want to do this over the phone. 40 minutes later, I slid into a booth across from Cameron at our usual diner. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed. He pushed a mug of coffee toward me. Talk, I said, ignoring the coffee. Cameron rubbed his face. I should have told you this years ago. When Danielle and I first met, before I introduced you two, we dated briefly. I blinked. What? You never mentioned that. It was only a few weeks. He looked down. She borrowed money from me too. A lot of money. Said her mom was sick, needed help with medical bills. Was that true? No, her mom was fine. I found out later she used it to pay off credit card debt. When I confronted her, she cried, said she was embarrassed and would pay me back. She never did. He met my eyes. After we broke up, she asked me to introduce her to you. The implications hit me like a physical blow. You're saying she targeted me from the beginning? I don't know, maybe. Cameron looked miserable. At first, I thought she genuinely wanted to be friends with you. By the time I realized she might have ulterior motives, you two were so close. I didn't want to mess that up without proof. So you said nothing. My voice was ice. For 8 years. I'm sorry, Raquel. I really am. I stood up, unable to stay seated with the anger coursing through me. I have to go. Wait. Cameron grabbed my wrist. There's more. Freddie isn't just some random guy. He's got a record, fraud, identity theft. He's dangerous. I pulled my arm away. All the more reason for me to get my things back now, before they do more damage. At least let me come with you. No. I grabbed my bag. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Back home, I paced my living room. Cameron's revelations spinning in my head. Had our entire friendship been a long con? Every heart-to-heart conversation, every shared secret, had Danielle been cataloging my vulnerabilities all along? I opened my laptop and searched Freddie's name, plus fraud. Several articles popped up about a Frederick Rogers who'd been arrested 3 years ago for an elaborate identity theft scheme targeting wealthy women. The mugshot confirmed it was the same man I'd glimpsed in Cameron's Instagram photos. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "It's Freddie. We need to talk." My heart raced. About what? "Danielle doesn't know I'm texting you. Meet me at Riverside Park at noon. Come alone." I stared at the message. It was obviously a trap. Or was it? If Freddie was willing to turn on Danielle, maybe I could use that. "Why should I trust you?" I texted back. "Because I have your father's car keys, and I know where the car is." I called Eloise immediately. "He's playing you," she said, after I explained. "Don't go alone." "I won't," I promised. "But I need to see what he wants." "I'll come with you. I'll stay back, but close enough to help, if needed." At 11:45, I spotted Freddie sitting on a bench near the duck pond. He was younger than I expected, maybe late 20s, with the kind of carefully disheveled good looks that photographed well. I texted Eloise, who confirmed she was positioned nearby. I approached slowly, hyper-aware of every person in the park. Freddie looked up, his expression unreadable. "Raquel," he said, standing. "Thanks for coming." "Where are my car keys?" I demanded. He glanced around nervously. "I don't have them with me. But I know where Danielle keeps them." "Why would you help me?" "Because she's using me, too." His voice had an edge of desperation. "She told me you were rich, that you wouldn't miss the money. But now the cops are involved, and I can't go back to prison. So what do you want?" "A deal. I help you get your stuff back. You tell the cops I wasn't involved." I studied his face, looking for the lie. "How do I know this isn't a setup?" He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. My father's Mustang parked in what looked like a storage unit. "She's planning to sell it tomorrow, to a private collector who doesn't ask questions." My stomach dropped. "Where is it?" "I'll take you there, but we need to go now, while Danielle's at her meeting." Every instinct screamed this was a trap, but the thought of losing Dad's car forever made me reckless. "Fine," I said, "but we're taking my friend's car, and she's coming with us." Freddie hesitated, then nodded. "Deal." As I texted Eloise to bring the car around, I wondered if I was making a catastrophic mistake, but the alternative, doing nothing while Danielle dismantled my life piece by piece, was unthinkable. "Let's go," I told Freddie, hoping I wouldn't regret this. Eloise's skepticism was palpable as Freddie directed us through the industrial outskirts of town. She kept glancing at him in the rearview mirror, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. "Left at the next light," Freddie said from the back seat. "Then straight for about a mile. If this is bullshit," I said, turning to face him, "I'll make sure fraud charges are the least of your problems." He met my eyes. "Look, I didn't know what Danielle was planning until it was too late. She told me you were loaded, that you'd never miss what she took. And you believed her?" "I wanted to." He looked away. "I've got debts, bad ones." We pulled into a storage facility surrounded by a chain-link fence. The sign read, "Secure Lock Storage," in faded red letters. My pulse quickened. "Unit 217, Freddie said. "She has it under a fake name." Eloise parked, but left the engine running. "I don't like this," she muttered. "Me neither," I admitted. "But if my car's in there, I'll wait here," she said. "Any sign of trouble, I'm calling 911. Freddie led me through a side gate, using a key code to get us in. The facility was eerily quiet. Rows of identical metal doors stretching in every direction. We stopped in front of Unit 217. "It's in here," he said, "but I don't have the key to the actual unit." I stared at the padlock. "Then why are we here?" "Because I know where she hides the key." He knelt down and felt along the bottom edge of the door, then produced a small magnetic box. Inside was a single key. My heart pounded as he unlocked the unit. The metal door rolled up with a screech, revealing a dim interior. And there it was, my father's Mustang, its cherry red paint dulled by dust, but unmistakable. "Oh my God," I whispered, moving toward it. "Wait," Freddie said, grabbing my arm. "There's something else you should know." I pulled away from him. "What?" "Danielle's not working alone. She has a partner, someone who's been helping her plan this for months." A chill ran through me. "Who?" Before he could answer, headlights swept across the open unit. A car had pulled up behind us. "Shit," Freddie hissed. "That's her." I froze, watching as Danielle stepped out of a sleek black Audi I'd never seen before. She looked different, hair shorter, dyed platinum blonde. Designer sunglasses hid her eyes despite the late afternoon shadows. "Well," she said, walking toward us, "this is awkward." Freddie moved slightly in front of me. "Danny, I can explain." "Save it." Her voice was cold. She pushed her sunglasses up to reveal eyes I barely recognized. Hard, calculating. "I knew you'd crack eventually. You always do." "You set me up," he realized aloud. She smiled thinly. "Had to flush out the rat somehow." Her gaze shifted to me. "Hello, Raquel. Enjoying the reunion with Daddy's precious car?" The casual cruelty in her voice stunned me. This wasn't the woman who'd held me when I cried, who'd celebrated every promotion with champagne and silly cards. This was a stranger wearing my best friend's face. "Why?" I managed to ask. 8 years, Danielle. 8 years of friendship. Was it all a lie? Something flickered across her face. Regret, maybe, or just annoyance at being confronted. "Not all of it. But you made it so easy, Raquel. Always so trusting, so generous, so oblivious." "To what?" "To how unfair it all is." Her voice hardened. "You with your perfect job, your family money, your charmed life. You never had to struggle for anything." I almost laughed. "You think my life has been easy. My father died when I was 23. I worked 60-hour weeks to get where I am. Nothing was handed to me." "Please," she rolled her eyes. "Your dad left you that car. Mine left me with 50,000 in debt and a mother who drank herself to death, trying to cope. But you wouldn't know anything about real problems, would you?" Before I could respond, Eloise appeared behind Danielle, phone in hand. "The police are on their way," she announced. "I've already sent them photos of the car and storage unit." Danielle's composure slipped for a moment. She glanced at Freddie, who shrugged helplessly. "You think this changes anything?" she asked me. "It's your word against mine. I'll say you loaned me the car, gave me the jewelry as gifts. Who's going to believe otherwise?" "I will," came a male voice. We all turned to see Cameron walking toward us, phone held up like he was recording. "Been streaming this whole conversation to the cloud, Danny," he said, "including the part where you basically admitted to stealing from Raquel." Danielle's face contorted with rage. "You backstabbing piece of—" "Save it," Cameron cut her off. "The police can hear your side." Sirens wailed in the distance. Danielle looked trapped, her eyes darting between us and the Audi. "This isn't over," she said to me, then turned and ran for her car. "Let her go," Eloise said, grabbing my arm as I instinctively moved to follow. "The police will find her." We watched as Danielle sped away, tires screeching. Freddie made no move to follow, standing awkwardly beside the Mustang. "I really didn't know how far she was going to take this," he said quietly. Cameron approached us, stopping his recording. "I followed you guys here. Figured you might need backup." "How did you know where we were going?" I asked. He glanced at Freddie. "I didn't. I put a tracking app on your phone last night. After you stormed out of the diner, I was worried. I should have been angry at the invasion of privacy, but all I felt was exhaustion. Thank you, I said simply. As the police cars pulled up, I walked to my father's car and ran my hand along its hood. The metal felt cool under my palm, solid and real. I'd found one piece of what was stolen from me, but the bigger theft, my trust, my sense of security, felt irreparable. We'll get everything back, Eloise said, coming to stand beside me. I nodded, but we both knew some things couldn't be recovered. As the police officers approached, I steeled myself for the questions to come, and the harder realization that the Danielle I thought I knew had never really existed at all. The police questioned us for hours. I answered mechanically, recounting every detail, while a detective nodded and took notes. Yes, we'd been friends for 8 years. No, there had been no falling out. Yes, I had documentation of the stolen funds. No, I hadn't given her permission to take anything. By the time they released us, my father's Mustang had been officially logged as recovered evidence. I couldn't take it home yet. We'll call when you can pick it up, the officer said, handing me a case number. Shouldn't be more than a few days. Outside the police station, exhaustion hit me like a physical weight. Cameron offered to drive me home, but I hesitated, still processing his admission about tracking my phone. I can take an Uber, I said. Raquel, he looked hurt. I was trying to protect you. By invading my privacy, after keeping secrets about Danielle for years. The words came out sharper than intended. Eloise stepped between us. Let me take you home. We're all tired and saying things we might regret. The ride home was silent. Eloise didn't push conversation, just squeezed my hand once before I got out of her car. Call me tomorrow, she said. Anytime. Inside my half-empty house, I poured a glass of wine and sank onto the couch. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You'll never get everything back. Some things are already gone forever. Danielle. My hand shook as I showed the message to the police, who added it to their report but warned me they might not be able to trace it if she was using a burner phone. Sleep came in restless bursts. I dreamed of Danielle laughing as she drove away in my father's car, the sound morphing into my father's laugh. Then back again. I woke at dawn, gritty-eyed and hollow. The financial damage was extensive. Over coffee, I made lists of what was still missing. Jewelry, clothes, cash, documents. The bank had frozen my accounts, but not before Danielle had transferred out thousands. My credit cards were canceled, but the furniture charge was still pending. The police had put out an APB for Danielle, but with her new look and the fake ID Freddie admitted helping her obtain, she could be anywhere. My phone rang. Cameron again. I let it go to voicemail. He'd left 3 messages already, each more apologetic than the last. Instead, I called the number Eloise's lawyer had given me. I need to know my options, I told her. Not just legally, but practically. How do I find someone who doesn't want to be found? That's not my area of expertise, she replied carefully. But I know someone who might help. A private investigator, former FBI. Give me the number. The PI, a woman named Margot, agreed to meet me for lunch. She was older than I expected, maybe late 50s, with sharp eyes that seemed to catalog everything about me in our first handshake. Tell me about your friend, she said after we ordered. Ex-friend, I corrected. And there's not much to tell. I thought I knew her, but clearly I didn't. Everyone leaves traces, Margot said. Digital footprints, patterns, habits they can't break. Tell me what you do know. Start with her family. I frowned. She said her father left them with debt. Her mother had drinking problems, died a few years ago. Siblings? None that she mentioned. Friends besides you. I thought about it. Not close ones. She was always saying people were too much work, that I was the only one who got her. Margot nodded. Classic isolation technique. What about work? She was a freelance writer, or claimed to be. Lifestyle pieces, travel blogs. I paused. Actually, she was working on a book, a memoir about overcoming childhood trauma. She'd been talking about it for months, said she had a publisher interested. Something clicked. Wait. The day before I left for my retreat, she was excited about a meeting with her editor, said it was almost a done deal. Margot leaned forward. Do you remember the publisher's name? I closed my eyes, trying to recall. Meridian Press, I think. She showed me an email once. That's something concrete we can trace. Margot made a note. What else? She mentioned Phoenix recently. That's where the furniture was being delivered. Good, we'll start there. Margot's expression softened slightly. You know, finding her doesn't guarantee getting your things back, or closure. I know, but I need to try. After lunch, I finally listened to Cameron's voicemails. The last one caught my attention. Raquel, I found something. Danielle's memoir, I think it's about you. Call me back. I called immediately. What do you mean it's about me? I contacted Meridian Press, pretending to be interested in her book. They sent me a sample chapter. His voice was tight. It's your life story, Raquel. Your father's death, your career struggles, all of it. But she's written it as if it happened to her. The room seemed to tilt. That's impossible. She wouldn't. She did. I'm sending you the file now. My phone pinged with an email. I opened it with shaking hands and began to read. The words blurred before my eyes. Intimate details of my life, my pain, twisted into Danielle's narrative. My father's battle with cancer, described in excruciating detail I'd shared with her during late-night conversations. My panic attacks after his death, which I'd trusted her to keep private, all presented as her experiences, her trauma. She's stolen my life, I whispered. There's more, Cameron said. The book deal is real. They're announcing it next week. 6-figure advance, major publicity campaign. They're positioning her as the next big thing in memoir. Something cold and determined crystallized inside me. This wasn't just about money or possessions anymore. Danielle was trying to steal my identity in the most fundamental way possible. I need to stop her, I said, whatever it takes. I spent the night reading Danielle's manuscript, each page a fresh violation. She hadn't just stolen my stories, she'd improved them, polished them into perfect literary trauma. My messy grief transformed into poignant reflection. My father's ordinary kindness elevated to sainthood. My struggles with anxiety repackaged as triumphant resilience. By morning, I had a plan. This is a mistake, Eloise said when I called her. Let the police handle it. The police are looking for theft and fraud, I replied, packing my laptop into my bag. They don't care about a memoir. Then let your lawyer handle it. That could take months. The book announcement is next week. I could hear her frustration through the phone. What exactly are you planning to do? I'm meeting with Christian Lee, the editor who bought Danielle's book. And then what? I didn't answer immediately. The truth was, I wasn't entirely sure. I'll figure it out when I get there. Meridian Press occupied 3 floors of a gleaming downtown high-rise. I'd called ahead, claiming to be Danielle's research assistant with urgent materials for Christian. The receptionist directed me to the 11th floor. Christian Lee was younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with stylish glasses and an easy smile that faded when I introduced myself. I'm sorry, you're who? He asked, not inviting me to sit. Raquel Weber. The real Raquel Weber. I placed the manuscript on his desk, the person whose life story Danielle Jordan stole for her memoir. His expression shifted from confusion to wariness. That's a serious accusation. It's not an accusation, it's a fact. I pulled out my phone and showed him photos of my father and me. The same scenes described in the memoir. Everything in that book happened to me, not her. Her real name is Danielle Jordan, and she's currently wanted by the police for theft and fraud. Christian's professional composure cracked slightly. Ms. Weber, did she mention she's been living in Phoenix under a fake name? Or that she stole $30,000 and my father's car last week? He sat down heavily. We do extensive background checks on our authors. Clearly not extensive enough. He removed his glasses, pinching the bridge of his nose. "What do you want from me?" "Cancel the book deal. Today, before you announce it." "It's not that simple. We've invested." "I don't care what you've invested." My voice remained steady, though my hands shook. "That book is my life, my trauma, my story. She had no right to take it, and you have no right to profit from it." Christian studied me for a long moment. "I need to make some calls. Would you mind waiting outside?" I sat in the reception area for 45 minutes, watching assistants hurry past with coffee and manuscripts. Finally, Christian emerged. "We're looking into your claims," he said formally. "In the meantime, we're postponing the announcement." "Not good enough." "It's all I can offer right now." His tone softened slightly. "For what it's worth, I believe you. But this isn't just my decision." I stood to leave. "You have until tomorrow to cancel the deal completely, or I go to every publishing industry blog and news outlet with this story. I'm sure they'd love to hear how Meridian Press is profiting from stolen trauma." Outside, adrenaline drained from my body, leaving me shaky. I hadn't expected the confrontation to affect me so deeply. I called Cameron. "How did it go?" he asked. "They're looking into it," I said, mimicking Christian's tone. "I gave them an ultimatum." "That's something at least." He paused. "Listen, Margot called me. She found an address for Danielle in Phoenix, an apartment under the name Danielle Weber." My stomach dropped. "She's using my last name." "Looks like it. Margot's sending the details to your email." I thanked him and hung up, checking my inbox. The address was for a luxury apartment complex, the same one from the furniture delivery receipt. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I know what you did. Back off or I release everything." I stared at the cryptic message. Release what? I showed it to Margot when she called to follow up. "It's a bluff," she said confidently. "Classic intimidation tactic." "But what if it's not? What if she has something on me? Do you have secrets worth hiding?" I thought about it. My life was an open book, literally, now that Danielle had written it all down. Nothing that would matter. Then ignore it. Focus on the next step. The next step. I booked a flight to Phoenix for the following morning, ignoring the voice in my head that said this was crossing a line. Danielle had obliterated all lines between us. That evening, Christian called. "We've canceled the contract," he said without preamble. "The legal department agreed the situation is problematic." Relief flooded through me. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Danielle's threatening to take the book elsewhere. Says she has proof the story is hers." "What proof?" "Journals, apparently. Going back years, and—" He hesitated. "She claims you're the one stealing from her, that you've been obsessed with her life and trying to take it over." I laughed bitterly. "That's ridiculous." "Maybe, but she's convincing and determined." After we hung up, I sat in stunned silence. Danielle wasn't just stealing my past, she was trying to rewrite it completely, casting me as the villain in my own life story. My phone buzzed with another text from the unknown number. "You shouldn't have done that. Now I take everything." Attached was a photo that made my blood run cold. A journal open to a page dated 3 years ago, describing my father's death in Danielle's handwriting. The details were perfect. The hospital room, the last words, the color of the sky that day. She'd been planning this for years. I forwarded the image to Margot with a simple message. "I'm going to Phoenix tomorrow. I need to end this." Her reply came quickly. "Don't go alone." But that was exactly what I intended to do. This was between Danielle and me now, a battle for my own life story, and I was done playing defense. Phoenix greeted me with scorching heat that stole my breath the moment I stepped off the plane. By the time my rideshare pulled up to Danielle's apartment complex, my cotton blouse clung to my back, and determination had hardened into something colder. The building was exactly as pretentious as I'd imagined. All glass and steel, with a uniformed doorman and a fountain in the lobby. I approached the front desk with practiced confidence. "I'm here to see Danielle Weber," I said, the surname bitter on my tongue. The concierge checked his computer. "I don't see you on her approved visitor list." "It's a surprise," I smiled, channeling Danielle's easy charm. "I'm her sister," just flew in from New York." He hesitated, then smiled back. "I'll need to see some ID." I handed over my driver's license, heart pounding. His eyes flicked between my face and the name. "Weber, right. Apartment 1107. I'll let her know you're coming up." Actually, I touched his arm lightly. "I'd really like to surprise her. It's her birthday." He looked uncertain, then nodded. "11th floor, to the right." The elevator ride gave me 30 seconds to question everything. What was I actually going to do when I saw her? What if Freddie was there? What if she called security? I had no real plan beyond confrontation. Apartment 1107 had a sleek black door with no peephole. I pressed the doorbell before I could lose my nerve. Nothing. I pressed it again, longer this time. Still nothing. Had the concierge warned her? Was she hiding inside, watching me through some hidden camera? I was about to turn away when I heard the elevator ding behind me. I froze. Danielle stepped out, arms full of shopping bags from high-end boutiques. She saw me and stopped dead, her face draining of color beneath her new platinum hair. "Surprise," I said quietly. She recovered quickly, shifting the bags to one arm and fishing out her keys. "You shouldn't have come here, Raquel. You shouldn't have stolen my life." She brushed past me to unlock her door. "I didn't steal anything that matters. My father's car doesn't matter. My money, my life story." She pushed the door open and turned to face me. "Are you coming in, or would you prefer to have this conversation in the hallway where everyone can hear?" I followed her inside, immediately struck by the familiar items scattered throughout the stylish apartment. My vintage record player sat on a shelf. My throw pillows adorned her couch. Even the art on the walls, pieces I'd carefully collected over years, hung as if they'd always been hers. "You've been busy redecorating," I said, my voice tight. Danielle set her bags down and moved to the kitchen, where she poured herself a glass of water. She didn't offer me one. "What do you want, Raquel? An apology? Your stuff back? Because the first isn't coming, and the second isn't possible anymore." "I want to understand," I said, surprising myself with the honesty. 8 years, Danielle. Was any of it real?" Something flickered across her face. "Regret, maybe, or just annoyance. Parts of it. In the beginning. And then?" She shrugged. "And then I realized how easy you were to borrow from. You never noticed the small things disappearing. A bracelet here, a scarf there. You were so trusting, so willing to believe the best in people." She took a sip of water. "People like you deserve what you get." The casual cruelty stunned me. "What did I ever do to you?" "You existed," she said simply. "With your perfect life, and your perfect job, and your perfect fucking story about your perfect dad who loved you so much he left you his precious car." Her voice had risen, revealing the first crack in her composure. "Do you know what my father left me? Scars, and debt, and a mother who drank herself to death trying to forget him." I stared at her, really seeing her for the first time. "So you decided to take my life instead." "I decided to take the life I deserved." She gestured around the apartment. "And it fits me better than it ever fit you. I've done more with your stories in one book than you would have done in a lifetime." "The book deal is canceled," I said. "Christian called me yesterday." Her smile was cold. "One publisher down, dozens to go. The manuscript is already with 3 others. Your cease and desist means nothing when I have years of journals proving these experiences are mine." "Journals you fabricated. Prove it." She stepped closer. "It's your word against mine, and I'm much more convincing. I always have been." Something inside me snapped, not into rage, but into clarity. "You know what, Danielle? Keep it. Keep the clothes, the furniture, the fancy apartment. Keep pretending to be someone you're not." I pulled out my phone. "But you don't get my story." I pressed play on the recording app that had been running since I entered the apartment. Danielle's voice filled the room. "I decided to take the life I deserved." Her face contorted. "You bitch. I've already emailed this to my lawyer, Margot, Christian, and the police." I lied smoothly, watching her confidence crumble. along with photos of all my stolen property currently decorating your apartment. She lunged for my phone. I stepped back, bumping into the coffee table, my coffee table, nearly losing my balance. "Delete it," she demanded, grabbing my wrist. I twisted away. "It's too late. It's already out there. Your new identity, your book deal, your freedom. It's all over. You're lying." "Am I? The police are already looking for you. How long before they check Phoenix? How long before they find Danielle Weber living in an apartment she can't possibly afford?" Her grip loosened. For a moment, I saw the old Danielle, the one who used to panic when things went wrong, who needed me to fix everything. "I can explain the recording," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Maybe. But can you explain the journals when forensic experts date the ink? Or the bank transfers? Or the stolen car?" I moved toward the door. "It's over, Danielle. The only question is how much worse you want to make it for yourself." She followed me, desperation replacing anger. "Raquel, wait. We can work something out." I paused at the door, turning to face her one last time. "No, we can't. You didn't just steal my things, Danielle. You tried to steal me, who I am, what I've lived through." I met her eyes steadily. "But you can't become me by wearing my clothes or telling my stories. You'll always be you, running from yourself." I walked out, closing the door on her protests. In the elevator, my hands finally began to shake as the adrenaline ebbed. I'd done it. I'd confronted her. And somehow, walking away felt more powerful than any revenge I could have taken. Outside, I called Margot. "I found her, and I have everything we need."